out of the way, and I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pitch it, and our running back coach didn't take the biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Radio Network on Facebook and YouTube. Glad to have you with us on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Glad to get things rolling. Want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, live and local and open for business. Also, you can chat us up on the social media outlets, so get those thoughts and comments ready. It's a Wildcard Wednesday with a little would you rather thrown in, so that means that we may be all over the board in terms of topics from around the SEC as well as Tuscaloosa. So I want to invite you to get in on that conversation. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Well, as I said, we a little Wild Card Wednesday thrown in where we kind of make a jaunt around the SEC and look at other things and makes a little would you rather on the conversation. One of the I guess first topics would kind of be to talk about a couple weeks ago after the Texas game, Nick Saban making a comment that the difference in this team, and he made it sound like it's been kind of a trending mindset, is that we don't have any. I can't remember the exact word. Nasty competitors. The competitors that want to go out there and just not just win the game, but want to dominate and make their competitors quit. Well, it sounds like that got the attention of one of about Alabama's key players, as Will Anderson addresses that a little bit yesterday in his latest talk with the media. What are your thoughts when you hear Will Anderson? Initial thoughts when you hear Will Anderson picking up and bringing out the mindset for this week as they prepare for Arkansas?
Man, Will Anderson is a guy you would want on your team no matter what level you're playing. I love his passion for the game. I love the way that he plays the game and the mentality that he has for the game. Hearing that yesterday was it was beautiful. It was music to my ears.
Yeah. Joe, Nick Saban, I think, I always laugh when I hear people like take something someone's – I shouldn't say that they didn't say, but it reminded me of a story, in the Bible when Adam and Eve are busted for eating an apple. The enemy says, "Did God really tell you couldn't eat that apple?" And Eve says that we not only could we not eat it, he said we couldn't touch it. Now, it's possible that Adam had said that to try to convince her not to even go near it, but the scriptures don't tell us that it says don't touch it. So it kind of sounds like even Nick Saban is talking even more intensely about this topic, or Will Anderson had just took it upon himself to make it even more intense, because it went from shutting up the fans to making them leave at. Did you hear when he said he want to look up and see him gone? Halftime. What, when I heard that, I'm like, okay, they're intense. What were your thoughts when you heard Will Anderson talking about that particular topic?
Oh, Will is just trying to be the soundboard, trying to reinforce what Coach Saban has been talking about. I think he's really trying to embrace the leadership role inside the locker room, and
Yeah.
I imagine he's spreading that message around the defense.
Yeah, I mean, because I've always said there's nothing like, you look up in the fourth quarter, and all, like when we would go to Tennessee on the road. We used to love to play on the road as well. And part of that, I think, was, like a lot of people, guys will casually show up at a home game and really not be intense, and focus on the game. They might be there for social reasons and things like that. And that's probably even more of a situation today. But when you go on the road, those 10, 11, 12,000 fans, they're usually pretty adamant about their Alabama football. And so nothing was as sweet as being up in Knoxville. And that's one I always remember, because they were so far away, man, so far away. And you go up there and they're expecting to just run you out of the stadium, and you put a beat down on them, and only thing you hear is the band and those few thousand people singing Roll Tide or saying Roll Tide, and the stadium is virtually empty. Nothing quite as sweet. I don't know that we ever got that at halftime, but if Will Anderson is able to accomplish that against Arkansas, then we've had a really fun game to watch. Curtis Moore said, have them leave the stadium by halftime instead of the alternative, having the fans rush the field with a loss like Texas A&M did this last year. So, guys, when you look at this game, X, what do you think, starting on the defensive side of the ball, our defense, what do you think the biggest challenge is for this defense going into this game?
When you look at Arkansas's offense, everything is based off of the run game, and that's what they start. That's what they start with. That's what they build their success off of. And if you're able to slow down their run game, you force them to be one dimensional. And this year, Arkansas doesn't have that Treyland Birch to go to. And so I think that's what Alabama has to do. Be stout in the run game. They were last year. Arkansas had 110 rushing yards, but on 42 carries. So if Alabama's able to do that, make them one-dimensional, I think it is to Alabama's benefit. They don't have the go-to guy. And the DBs, in my opinion, are better this year. So I think that's what Alabama has to do defensively.
Joe, what do you think? You get an agreement with Xavier on that, or you have anything to add to that conversation?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that you shut down the running game, then they're going to be really struggling to move the football. I do not have much faith in KJ Jefferson throwing the football if you make him throw the football. Now he is a pretty nice little athlete, I think. So you're going to have to really be honed in on the quarterback run as well, the read option and all that stuff. But I really like Alabama's chances to make Arkansas one-dimensional and then let our pass rushers eat.
Yeah, and when you look at it, when you look at this, you guys talking about the running game. I'm gonna flip it just to the passing game for a second. They did lose, a really really nice receiver, the young man from Oklahoma. Do they try to find a way? And I'm drawing a blank on his name. Came over from
Jaden Hasselwood.
Hasselwood. Do they try to figure out a way to get him involved early? I mean, he's a legit wide receiver, but I don't know, that he can be that answer that they had from last year.
I'm not sure if he can either. Treyland Birch was a man, and we were playing with Josh Jobe, who was hurt and shouldn't have been playing. From what we heard with his foot injury, and you look at their passing offense, Burks had 179 yards receiving last year, and KJ ended up with 326. So you're talking about over 50, about 60% of their passing offense was one guy. And as good as Housewood is, and they've got a couple playmakers on the edge, I'm not sure that they can do or repeat that.
So which one are you going in? I mean, I know we're going to try to stop the run because everything flows out of the run in terms of Arkansas. But do you think if you're Arkansas, let me ask it this way: if you're Sam Pittman preparing for this Alabama game, and you watch this defense play, which one are you gonna try to focus on? I mean, you've seen. Let me look inside the numbers as far as this Alabama's defense. Right now, Alabama's defense is giving up 1.84 yards per rush, and that includes having played against the best running back in the country, potentially in Robinson. And so, if you're Arkansas, guys, are you game planning? Are you going to try to flip the script a little bit and maybe come out and try to spread us out and throw the ball around a little bit?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't think you should ever try to change your identity based off of who you're playing. I think you go in there with a game plan that you try to run the ball, that you try to do what you're the best at, and then mix in the pass game in maybe different ways than that you normally would against a team that is very stout against the run.
Joe, what about you? What's your game plan going into against this defense? But because it's really their defense. You know, our defense is strength against their strength. Do you come in just determined to do it, or do you try to mix it up early?
I think what Xavier said is pretty spot on, but I think that Kendall Briles is going to try to keep things kind of mixed up a little bit. What I noticed a little bit in the Texas A&M game is that Kendall Briles seemed to outsmart himself a little bit, especially early in the game. And I kind of look for that to happen again. I would I would probably. I mean, KJ Jefferson is your best player, and I would probably be game planning to put the game in his hands.
Yeah, and I kind of have mixed emotions about it because I do think they have more athletes than I think. I'm not sure they're not more talented in some ways like Alabama offensively from the wide receiver standpoint. I'm not sure that they may not have more talent. They just don't have anybody yet at the top level of what they had last year. I don't think they have a 179-yard guy. So I would be tempted, especially thinking about Browse and how creative and spread out they used to be. Joe at Baylor and how many places he's been, but like you said last week, I think he tried to, maybe he did that last week. What I'm talking about, when he didn't have to, and because they had A&M on the ropes, and of course I still think if Jefferson doesn't fumble down there, it's a different story. But the only thing I would think that I would try is I might spread it out, maybe a possession or two, and make it look like that's what I want to do, and maybe even throw one or two times in the first few possessions just to make it look like that's kind of my game plan. But I would spread it and try to get some of those Alabama guys out of the box. In other words, I may come out with Still have my big hogs up front, but maybe try to get Alabama to get into a cheetah formation or a rabbit formation or something like that so that I could run it. And so it'll be interesting to see if they do that, because I think if they try to line up and just run it at us, it could be a fun day for this Alabama defense again. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Greg, hold on. We'll get you on the other side of the break. It's Wildcard Wednesday. We'll be getting you in on the conversation. If anyone else want to get in on it, you're welcome to call us at 205-342-9904. The Alabama One hotline is open for business. On the other side, we'll flip over to the other side of the ball and see what it looks like from an Alabama offense versus Arkansas's defense. We can talk about that and more right here on the Martin Hughes Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. We do see congestion on 2059 eastbound at the Mercedes exit, number 89. If you see conditions, give me a call, 205-886-8886. If it's time for a new vehicle, it's time for Townsend Nissan of Tuscaloosa, your hometown dealer and home of a lifetime powertrain warranty. I'm Captain Ray.
Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa. Quality is number one. You got to start with a good quality product, but it's got to be at a good value to the customers.
Everything is about quality.
You just can't beat the quality, taste, and value.
And it's because we take pride in providing you with the best.
Good customer service and good food, good quality.
We want to make sure that we give that to them each and every time they come and visit us. The sense of pride that we have in the quality, the consistency of our food carries over to everything we do in the stores. That's Taco Casa.
We've all heard the expression practice makes perfect, but at Kumon Learning Centers, we believe practice makes possibilities. Imagine what your child could achieve with math and reading mastery at an early age. No one achieves greatness by accident. They practice. Right now, enjoy free registration and save up to $50 at Kumon, where practice makes possibilities. Call 1-800-ABC-MATH to book an orientation today.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
I'm excited about fall, but I'm even more excited about the falling prices at Kohl's. I went to their friends and family sale, and not only did I save an extra 20%, I also found sweatshirts and sweatpants for under $19, cute harvest table decor for 40% off, and great fall styles starting at $23.99. Plus, I earned Kohl's Cash. So if you want more style and more savings this season, get to Kohl's. Select styles, 20% offer ends October 2nd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Another fantastic fall day today. The sky sunny. Tuscaloosa's high 75. Clear and cool again tonight, the low at 50. And for tomorrow and Friday, a good supply of sunshine both days. The high tomorrow 76, the high Friday 79. I'm James Spann of the ABC 30 Theater Center on Tide 100.9. It's 51 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Taco Casa, quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. Your choice for lunch and or dinner. Go check them out at the 6 locations in Tuscaloosa West Alabama. Also one up in Birmingham off of Lakeshore Drive. That's Taco Casa. Quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town. TacoCasa.com. All right, let's get back into the conversation. We had Greg patiently waiting. Greg, you're in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Martin. A couple things on my mind. With KJ Jefferson being so athletic and so dynamic, and when he freelances, and Deontay Lawson getting so much playing time, could you possibly see him or someone else going in as a spy? Even though they may try to spread us out and leaving someone in the middle, just someone that can match up with him speed wise.
I'll let you respond, then I'll come back on it.
I think you can see Deontay in there a lot as a spy. I think it'll be him and probably Moody. That'll be their responsibility. Toto has impressed me a little bit with his pass coverage this year, so I think he'll be used in that aspect. But yeah, I definitely think you'll see a lot of Lawson as well this week.
Yeah, and I think that KJ kind of presents an interesting opportunity for Alabama to do some things differently defensively. I guess this really is our first time to address, I think, the used logic that the way to beat Alabama is a mobile quarterback. So that narrative has popped up a little bit this week. I think it's old and stale, but it still comes up. And KJ Jefferson may be the first one to do that. I think it's his physicality that makes him a better runner than a lot of the quarterbacks. Bigger than most running backs and pretty athletic. I think they're gonna, like I said, try to spread us out. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not we have two linebackers in all the time, or if we even end up with a DB possibly in there, to help out with that scenario. Have we heard, Joe, whether or not Battle is going to be back or not?
Oh, and there's been no updates on Jordan Battle or Byron Young.
Yeah, and so the Jordan Battle probably concerns me a little bit because he's that physical type DB that you can bring down in the box and help with a physical running game, but also still have a pass cover guy. So, Greg, that would be kind of my question and concern. But I would definitely make Alabama have to deal with KJ Jefferson and the threat of the run, maybe to get some DBs, young DBs to come off or make some mistakes, and maybe, which happened last year, a couple guys run free and him hit them late in a pass play.
I agree with that 100%. One thing I look for him especially to do, you were talking about, Kenneth Brow, sometimes the way he tries to outsmart himself. One thing I would look to see is especially the outside receivers, try to get them to run 15 yards on or further routes and see if the DBs just flat out turn their backs, and just run down the field and opening those running lanes up for him. Because he's so good at getting you, kind of to suck in and then creating a lane where he can escape out, and that's my biggest fear with him.
Yeah, and that's the question. Will they move the pocket a lot? I know if I was going against this Alabama team, I would probably move the pocket. I would not have two heat-seeking missiles have the ability to come to a launching point. So I look for them to do a couple things, either move the pocket, rolling it left or right, and I know this sounds crazy because people don't think about it a lot, but when you have the old traditional Greg guy under the center, you had the 3-step, 5-step, and 7-step drop, and you can kind of do the same thing out of the shotgun, and with this team, maybe they actually tried to do the I know they're going to do the quick passing game, but don't be surprised if you see them even drop him back some just to change the launching point to help the tackles be able to run those guys up the field even more. And then he's able – then that creates that I call it a 7-step drop, but it's really just a couple steps he drops back. When they come for that angle, then he steps up, and it actually creates an escape lane if your interior lineman can stop the guard and all that stuff, and Will Anderson them rush up to get that 7-yard drop. It creates a lot of space between the guard and the tackle for that type of quarterback to escape. So I do some of that stuff too.
I agree. I mean, you can't give Will Anderson and Braswell and them just a free run of basically figuring out the angle, before the snap of the ball, and just go straight forward.
Yeah.
You were asking about would Arkansas try to run the ball. I mean, Sam Pittman is not going to change who he is. He's still going to try running the ball because he wants it to be a physical slobber knocker game, and to drag you, kind of get you muddy and dirty. I mean, that's what he wants. I think they can flat out abandon the game, the run game.
Yeah, Greg, I don't think he'll abandon the running game. I was just saying that don't be surprised if he don't try to get some of our defenders out of the box, because that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like Gus Malzahn was the most physical running coordinator out there, but he would get some of our players out of the box with 4 wide receivers and stuff, just so there wasn't as many in the box. And maybe Sam tried some of that. And I'll let you go after this, but have you watched Kansas play any at all?
No, I've not seen them play this year.
All right, just watch them. Their guy has instituted shotgun triple option.
That's
so it's an interesting approach. He just running straight up, old school, and then he has the spread principles as well, but. He's a physical running team as well out of, shotgun. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. All right, Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show at Martin and Xavier on Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Martin. That we are a three-score favorite in this ball game. This is not your mama's defense at Alabama. This is a new era of defense where that we are being as physical as I've seen in quite some time.
So doesn't that make it your mama's defense?
Hey, going all the way back to your defense.
Well, that would be your mama's defense, right? Isn't that what that means, guys? Like when you say it's not
mine,
huh?
It would be mine.
Hey, but it hadn't been the defense in the last 15 years, is what I'm saying.
I know. I was just
this defense is beginning to impose their will, and and I understand that's a little bit of rat poison that Coach Saban doesn't want to hear. However, y'all are preaching doom and gloom, and I personally don't think that Arkansas stands a Chinaman's chance. And I'm looking at this game at being 42-17. What do you guys actually think?
Well, Pat, I don't know what you mean by the last 15 years. You haven't seen a physical defense like this. You look at some of Saban's early years, you look at how physical those defenses were. The 2009, 2011, 2015.
2016.
Some of the most physical defenses I've ever seen.
Those guys were humongous. That's back when we had high power. We had 270-pound linebackers. We got people that are fast now. and they still strong as can lift most of the weight room as Mr. Houston could. That hey, these guys are really, really quick, and I just see it as they're going to make it a very, very bad day for Mr. Jefferson.
I don't disagree with it being a bad day for Jordan. I think that this Alabama defense is living up to the preseason hype, and I think I think this defense still has room to improve. I'm still waiting to see what happens with Mr. Eli Ricks. When you see him out there physically, God, he looked like he would just be, an unbelievable player and he's not even playing really. And I think this defensive line is getting better. Braswell is living up to his hype, maybe exceeding it. Will Anderson is figuring it out how to play. And I think we're not talking about it much, but I think Pete Golding is figuring out how to use the blocking schemes that teams are employing against Will Anderson to his benefit, meaning that he's getting other guys free and still getting one of Will's sacks the other night was they put Will outside of another pass rusher and let that pass rusher take on hit the tackle head on, but the guard was the guy that was responsible for blocking the other player. And when he came out, Will hesitated and then rotated under. It wasn't even an immediate stun. It was almost a delayed loop or twist, I should say. So I think Alabama's getting smarter too. And I think as that happens, this defense is only going to get better.
Yeah, all right, next question. Are we going to be able to get Byron Young back for Texas A&M?
I don't know if he won't be back for this Saturday. I just hadn't heard anything.
Okay.
He has an ankle sprain, but they did not say hi. If Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. They just said ankle sprain.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I heard anything about these new type of boots? I've heard that they got a new type of shoe that Alabama is using from over in Birmingham or somewhere. One of these doctors have developed that's supposed to be helping these kids out on this recovery.
I have not heard anything. Either one of you guys heard anything?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I got you. Anyway, all right. Hey, have a blessed day. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Pat. Coming back on the other side, X, I got a couple of just funny questions. Maybe not. Questions, not necessarily regarding Alabama football that we're going to get to on a Would You Rather type of a Wednesday on this Wildcard Wednesday. Been talking a lot of Alabama, Arkansas, and we can continue that if you want to get in on the conversation. 205-342-9904. Alabama One is your one source for all your financial needs, whether you're looking to get a vehicle, whether you're looking to get some type of mortgage or home-related financing, HELOCs, line of credit. We can get you taken care of. And here's the question we like to ask at Alabama One. Hey, we're here to help you, and we need to know what's your one. Whatever your one is, we're here to help you make your dreams come true. That's Alabama One together.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
I can walk again. I can cross my legs again. I can wear heels again.
After years of living with chronic joint pain, Andrea Southard is now living a normal life, pain-free, thanks to natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics.
We tried everything, and my husband had heard the commercial for QC Kinetics on the radio, and he told me to call him and check it out.
That phone call changed Andrea's life. QC Kinetics used powerful natural biologics to treat her aching joints. It's high-tech precision medicine that can restore and repair damaged joint tissue with no surgery and no drugs, providing lasting relief.
I felt like I was in my 20s again. I could tie my own shoes. Really the little things that you don't think about.
Pain in your hips, knees, back, shoulders? Get rid of the pain now. Call QC Kinetics.
205-686-1941. That's 205-686-1941. QC Kinetics, 205-686-1941.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with Awakening. The team and I would like to invite you to this monthly community-wide praise and worship service featuring intimate worship and powerful preaching of God's Word. Please join us at the link, that's 610 Watermelon Road, Northport, Alabama, or watch online at Empowerment Ministries on Facebook. That's Awakening, powered by Empowerment Ministries, the third Thursday every month at 6:30 p.m. Please pray for us and join us if you can.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
All right, welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Don't forget about Overflow Express Wash. Overflow Express Wash helping you to keep your car clean inside and out. Andy Phillips and his team would love the opportunity to have you become a part of their team. Go check out Overflow Express Wash today at their two Tuscaloosa locations. That's Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com. All right, X and Joe, just a couple questions, just kind of fun questions out there. Sometimes I think of silly things to think of, but just looking at this year's the way things have kind of played out this year, there's been some teams that have gotten upset, teams who have won some close games, lost some close games. Just as a competitor, would you rather lose in a blowout fashion, similar to the way South Carolina got beat by Georgia, or would you rather lose to Texas A&M literally by hitting the top of the goal post in a game that could set your program way ahead?
I would rather lose a close game as a competitor. I'm not trying to get blown out. I'm trying to go out there and compete. And if a ball doesn't bounce my way, that's one thing. I can deal with that a little bit easier than never being in the game and never standing a chance.
Joe?
Yeah, exactly. I if I'm getting blown out, I just want to leave. So no, I'd rather stay in the game the whole time.
All right. So with that thought process in mind, two things. Which one it takes you longer to get over, and which one do you think, from an Alabama standpoint, which one do you think we look at and deal with the hardest? The fact that we got shocked by Clemson when Tua was the quarterback, or
the loss to Clemson when we had the game won?
I think the one with Tua was worse because when you look at it at the end of the day, that Clemson team in 2016 had Deshaun Watson, Mike Williams, a lot of guys on that offense that you could see having success now and things like that. Hunter Renfrow, and yes, you can say the same thing about the defense. And when Tua was the starting quarterback, but Tua was the more experienced quarterback. He was supposed to be the better quarterback, and we were supposed to have a better offense, if not at least equal offense to what Clemson had. And as much as that stung and it took a little bit longer to get over, once again, I'd rather be in it to the end than to not have a chance after the first quarter.
Yeah. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think blowouts are easier to get over because you kind of well, at least with that Clemson game, I was over it in a day or two. Now I'm sure that I'm not the same as most Alabama fans, but I think that you can basically say, well, they weren't as good as us, basically, or they were much better than we were that that night. When it's a close game, you can point to one play here, one play there, and really usually there's dozens of those one plays. So I think that's harder to get over.
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of funny. I tell people when we get blown out like we did against Tua thing, by the time the game was over, man, I kind of dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, oh, this okay, we're gonna lose this one. The two losses, like the loss to Clemson and this last year loss to Georgia, I still sometimes go, crap, we lost that game. You know what I mean? Like, so it still kind of sticks with you. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they had forgot, guys, that we were winning the Georgia game in the fourth quarter. That was you and I were talking to Xavier when some crazy guy come talking about how Bryce didn't, play well against Georgia at all, didn't show up for the big moment. And I was like, did he not realize we were winning in the fourth quarter and a drop pass changed everything? But anyway, here's another question, not doing Alabama or anything. Would you rather have Stoops of Kentucky or Heupel from Tennessee?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Heupel has the better program in the sense of history and the backing that he's going to get. Tennessee football will always be the big dog there, where at Kentucky, Stoops is always going to play second fiddle to the basketball program. I don't know. I might go with Heupel.
What about you, Jeff?
I'm sorry, I was answering the phone.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, that's okay. I was saying, would you rather have Mark Stoops or Josh Heupel? Which one would you rather have?
I think I'd rather. Oh gosh, because I think Mark Stoops is a great coach, but I think I'd rather have Josh Heupel, especially with the way modern offenses are going. I think that's a tough question, but I think I'd rather have Josh Heupel.
That's a really, really tough question when you think about it. And what Stoops is doing at Kentucky, the longevity. Think about his longevity at this time is interesting because they don't keep coaches very long. People get rid of coaches immediately, and the fact that he's past Coach Bryant, but they're both ranked in the top 10 right now. Which one of those guys, after we say that, which one finds their demise and comes back to reality that they're not back yet or not there yet, Kentucky or
well, they both have to play Georgia. So I think, does Tennessee play Georgia before we play them?
I'm not sure. Let me see. Tennessee has no. They have LSU and then Alabama and then UT Martin, then Kentucky, then Georgia. So
Tennessee's
off this week.
Georgia.
Huh?
When's Kentucky have Georgia? Because I think that's for Tennessee, the litmus test.
They have them like next to the last week of the season.
Oh wow! So they both play them late. Tennessee has this litmus test against Alabama first, so that'll be their are they back or not yet game, and then they both have to play Georgia, and Tennessee could end up losing to Alabama, but still have a chance to win the East. And I think that's the litmus test really for both of them. Can Tennessee beat Alabama, but can they win the East? And that's beating Georgia, and that's the same for Kentucky. And of course, they play each other.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, look at this. So Tennessee sits right now today at 4-0. They have open week this week, Xavier, and they have Georgia. They have 4 games before Georgia. They're 4-0. They have open week. Then they have LSU, Alabama, UT Martin, and Kentucky. What would their record be going into that Georgia game?
I'm going to say 7-1.
And I'm going to say that they might lose 3 out of the next 4 games they play. I think LSU is getting better, and then they're going to lose to us. And Kentucky is. Listen to what Kentucky could possibly be. Kentucky and Ole Miss. That's going to be a must. That's good. Joe, think about this. Is Kentucky and Ole Miss a must-see game this year?
Absolutely.
Yeah, think about that, man. That's a must-see game.
Tennessee game at
Kentucky and Tennessee. Oh, hold on. Kentucky and Tennessee is in Knoxville. So, but here's the thing, Xavier. Kentucky, if Kentucky gets by Ole Miss, they'll beat South Carolina. Then they could play Mississippi State. Then they have an open week before Tennessee. So it's possible that Kentucky could be 7-0. They have a lot more legit chance, I think, of being 7-0 than has of being 7-1 when they play Georgia. So, they would be 6-1. I'm sorry, when they play each other. So either way, that's going to be good. And I want to look at some more. We're going to go ahead and get the break so we can get the Scotty Hollins guys. I was looking at how many young coaches are in the SEC. A couple of them may be on their way out. But it's going to be like this battle for kind of who's going to replace, Nick Saban is what everybody always talks about. But I think the battle is going to quickly become who's going to be that second, third, fourth dog that's going to be chasing Kirby Smart when Nick Saban moves on. And which one of these guys is going to get into that rank. So we can talk about that as well as we move on. But let's get the break here. Come back on the other side. We have Scotty Hollins, the Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, with the Christian Moment of the Week, presented by Empowerment Ministries.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. An increased chance of wildfires across the state has prompted the issuance of a red flag fire weather watch across all of central and west Alabama. That's through 7 p.m. this evening. There's currently a small wildfire near the Perry County town of Sprott on Alabama Highway 14. Outdoor burning is not recommended. You can report a wildfire by calling 1-800-392-5679. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, your landscaping stand out, your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb Series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Hey, Pete, how's business? It's great. Foot traffic's still way down, but more people are finding me online. Nice. How'd you pull that off? Well, the first thing I did was go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there were for businesses like mine. So I guess there were a lot? Yeah, there were hundreds of local searches every month. So after I saw that, they helped me position my business online to get in front of those customers. That's awesome. I wonder how many people are searching for my services around here. Well, it's quick and easy to get the answer. Plus, it's free. Just go to mylocalcustomers.com to find out. If there are a lot of searches, you should definitely get in front of them. If there aren't, no harm, no foul.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Have you ever wanted to be inside Bryant Denny in the middle of the field, sitting in the lower bowl, watching your beloved Alabama Crimson Tide team battle? Now you can. Tide 100.9 and Tuscaloosa Toyota present Best Seats in the House. Each week, we will give away a pair of the best seats, and we'll pick you up, take you to the game, and pick you up after the game. Enter to win by downloading the Tide 100.9 free mobile app and listen each week for details on how to win. Winners will be notified on Thursday. Best Seats in the House is presented exclusively by Tuscaloosa Toyota, where we are all about people and all about you. Online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Show on Tide 100.9 with Martin and Xavier. It's now time for our weekly catch-up with Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministry, with the Christian Moment of the Week, powered by Empowerment Ministries. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Martin, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well. I talked to you to encourage us how we can incorporate our faith into the boardroom, the classroom, or our chosen field of play when it comes to finishing the job, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Martin. I want to continue on our series that we are calling The Power To Persevere. And when you talk about having an impact in all those places that Martin just mentioned, your power, your ability, your willingness to persevere will have a lot to do with the impact you have on those around you. And so we're looking at this passage from Hebrews 12:1, and I will share the passage with you right quick as we think about how do we gain the power to persevere. And we're going to get some really good instructions, lessons from this passage. It says, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run, Martin, with endurance, the race that is set before us. And so when you go back, anytime you say therefore, you got to ask yourself, what is it therefore? And the therefore in this passage is, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, the therefore points us back to the previous chapter. This is Hebrews 12:1. It points us back to the whole previous chapter, Hebrews 11, which is called the Hall of Faith. The Hall of Faith is just the people who had, to that point, just lived exemplary lives. And these people had gone through really, really tough things, but yet had finished strong. I like the way you put that, Martin, finishing strong. So I want us to think through real briefly just this first point of motivation. He says, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, many great men of the faith, women of the faith were listed in Hebrews 11. And I want to call your attention to one. Let's look at Noah. Noah was given a task to, build an ark. Only problem is, he said, build an ark. It's inland, miles and miles away from any body of water, and it had never rained before at that point. And guess what his message was? It's gonna rain. And they're like, what is rain? So you got this. He's given a pretty tough task. And again, it took like years, people say 120. Some people say 50 to 60. Let's call it 50 to 60. It took 50 to 60 years to build this gigantic ark that God had told them to build. Okay. Now, side note, little commercial. They have a life-size replica of this up in Kentucky. If you ever want to go take a visit, just to see. So when you remember this message, you can go look at it and say, "Wow, he built that," and they had never seen rain. What do you think people thought about him, Martin? They're a long way away from water, never seen rain, but he keeps his message is it's gonna rain. They're probably thinking he's crazy.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like, hey, bro, you all right? What's going on in your life? Hey, man, you need to go. And so here's the reality. He persevered. He knew what God told him to do, and he persevered, right? And here's the reality. Although it was difficult, although it was tough, although he was completely isolated because everybody just looked down on him, he was obedient to what God told him to do. Sometimes, guys, we can feel isolated when we're living our lives in those areas that Martin said, in the boardroom, in the classroom, in our chosen field of play. We can feel isolated, and because we're going through something difficult. We can feel isolated. Maybe it seems that everybody's turning on us, or maybe we're going through something and everybody thinks, everybody's laughing at us. Whatever the case is, here's what Noah focused on. He focused on what God had told him to do. He focused on being obedient to him, and he focused on finishing the job that he was given. I think about something, we all hear a lot. Hey, do your job. Just do your job. And I think, hear that I hear that from just when you think of what it takes to be great in anything. Yeah. Just do your job. And it's pretty cool to see that Noah had his job. He knew it. And whether he didn't have a whole lot of support, but he focused on the job that was given to him, and he focused on finishing it strong, and it had a huge impact. And again, so our job, as we look to have the power to persevere, is to look to people like that who, although they had a very difficult situation, they didn't give up, but they also finished strong.
Yeah, and Scotty, what I love about that is that therefore, since you're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, I think about just playing football at Alabama, how when we got beat by Florida 35-0, we came back the next week and said, are we Alabama or not? If we are, let's act like it. Well, the only reason we could make that type of statement was because the ones who had gone before us had established the standard of how Alabama players play. Well, we went on a 28-game win streak. Well, if it'll work in that scenario, it'll work in our faith. And all we need to do is look at those people who have said, this is what I believe, this is how I act in this situation, and then we can take and see if they acted that way, let's act like they acted and watch our situations continue to improve. Tell our listeners where they can find you, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me at www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there. Come straight to my email.
All right, man. That's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries. Joins us every Wednesday for a great time and challenge in how we can incorporate our faith into the boardroom, classroom, our chosen field of play. I'm Martin Houston, and Empowerment Ministries is glad to present that each and every week. We'll catch up with Scotty again next week. And for you out there, remember this: trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody. Catch you on tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.